Good morning, everybody. It's Nikki Jordan here with Got Space in Maine again on another beautiful day. Maybe it'll get sunny today. So, this weather here has gotten me thinking about weather. The weather doesn't define who I am, but a lot of people don't like certain weather. They don't want it a certain way. And when it shows up, it's tough for them. So we get choices of where to live, some of us, not all of us, right? Not all of us. We get choices of where to live, but wherever we are, there we are, right? And whatever shows up is what you have to deal with. So you can either resist it, right? And a lot of people have resistance to things in life, or you can say, you know, the weather doesn't define who I am. My response to it does, right? So this is actually good food for thought for a lot of things right now. And a lot of countries where people have had a lot of privilege for many years, I think are struggling with what's happening in the world right now. And they're struggling because they're used to having more control over their life. And, even just the idea that people could fly wherever they wanted because they had money and all of that stuff, they had options of how to control their life. But your life isn't, when aspects of your life are not controllable by you, it's your response to them that is going to define what you feel like, how you are, right? What happens in your life. It's kind of like, you're going to make something for dinner, but you didn't go to the grocery store and you had nothing in mind. So all you have is the ingredients that are there. And so a lot of us, thankfully, even to the internet, can, look at what's in there, which is what I often do, and say, what can I make with these ingredients? And there's always some great recipe, right? So thinking that I don't have a meal to have, I'm not going to have anything that's good has never been part of my thought because there's that little thing called the internet and a bit of ingenuity. So you might just take a stock, and it might take you a few days because, some people don't like this idea because they're resisting it, right? Is that if the weather of your life, if okay, I'm just using this because I'm in two, well, I don't need one of them now, but I was in two jackets and it was whipping wind for days and it was cold and I'm looking at heat waves everywhere else and wouldn't everybody love that for their summer? And then if you have too much heat, then it's oppressive, right? So what is it that you can create with the ingredients that are right there, right now, and not resist what you feel like is in your way, right? Because privileged countries, I'm just noticing this, privileged countries are reacting to all kinds of things because they're used to controlling. They're used to controlling the outcome. Well, controlling the outcome is the individual outcome, right? You know, but what if something larger happens, right? I can't control the weather. So something larger is happening, right? And even the hay, they say make hay when the sun shines. Well, wait a minute. That means that, if it's like crappy like this and the sun comes out, go out and have fun. But make hay with the sunshine doesn't even recognize that it took a lot of other things for the hay to grow. That's a kind of a silly example. Um, but uh, there are a lot of people who don't resist. Like I grew up with a variety of weather and I really loved it. And sometimes, I don't know, it's just this person where, okay, now it's snowing and freezing outside. What can I do when it's snowing and freezing? And then other people are like, oh, it's snowing and freezing. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want that to define who I am, right? I don't want what's, what I observe outside of me that defines the larger makeup of how my life or day is going to go to affect me. I'm just going to go along with what's there and do what I can or ignore it. know. So I find that a lot of times when things get rough in your life or you hit a wall. I mean, we're always going to have some kind of resistance, and the resistance does show you your emotions to things. But then what is it that you do with that? What is it once you have the emotions? Do you want to sit there? Do you want to sit in the story, or do you want to leap over it? Right? And I think that a lot of um, like we can get mired in our ideas about things and what we think is really right or whatever or true for ourselves, and we won't just like leap over and say, well, what the heck. and leap over. So what if you found something in your life today or whatever and said, what the heck, and just leapt over? Because complaining, we love to complain. Oh my God. But then we hate listening to people complain all the time. And have you ever listened to yourself? Sometimes you're like, why am I saying that? Could you be like the little helicopter above looking down at yourself sometimes and going, whoa, you know, why am I doing that? Well, that doesn't sound very, it's not even happy, is not the word, but I'm losing the word right now. It's a word that we all use all the time. It's not, content might be the word, but that's not it either. Oh God, maybe I need more coffee today. Um, so I don't want to belabor the point, but I think it's really important because the world, nature, everything, even our mistakes, even the mistakes that we as nations have made and all of that are going to show us things that we need to deal with, right? And not complain about. So, for example, the homeless population, a lot of people like to talk about the homeless population. Well, it is oppressive at where I live. It truly is oppressive. But we could leap over that by doing something about it. We could look backwards in the rear view mirror and say, well, this caused that and this caused that. And well, it doesn't matter because it is here, right? That homeless problem is there. And when you look at what used to just be a few people here and there, living in poverty or some were choice for traveling and they got stuck that way because they never found a job. But now it's like many blocks of people just having encampments and they don't have services or anything like that. So when I watch people complain about that, I'm like, yeah, okay, this is what the weather is right now. So what are we going to do with it? You could say how the weather was created. That's irrelevant. What is here right now is what's relevant because it's only gonna, in that case, produce more of a problem. And in many of our lives, certain things will always produce more of a problem. So I'm hoping that my child, who has spent a month in this kind of weather and rain and whipping wind and everything and wanting a really hot summer, right? And she's at camp for a couple of weeks, is finding that thing inside her. I told her you can't change the weather. You can resist it, but you can just do what you want anyway. You can say, or modify what you do, or find something else to do, or find something else to believe in. I don't even know what it is. Um, that don't let things catch you up. Don't let things catch you up. And I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot for months now, and I have a class that I want to teach on a variety of things all woven together. But, resilience is a very heavy word for a lot of people because it means if you don't have it, it means that you lack it, right? So you feel, ugh. So what if that isn't really the word? What if it's ingenuity? Ingenuity is kind of like, somebody's ingenuity is what did I make with these imperfect, uh, you know, ingredients or imperfect materials. I needed to build something. I didn't quite have the right thing, but so it was imperfect. What did I build with imperfection? The world is highly imperfect, and we are not in control of the world. And things that we do to the world then get out of control. Like, you know, I could list them, and some of you might not believe in it, but like climate change, who cares? Like, okay, it's here. What the heck are we going to do? If you don't believe it's here, well, then that's another story. But um, there are things that are here that we may have created, and you could go back and blame yourself or blame the other people or whatever, or what shows up. Or we could just go, let's leap over. If I'm the thing, let's leap over and move on, right? So, just food for thought today and any day and all the time, because those of us who live in privileged societies literally complain way more because I have traveled through the depths of slogging through parts of India where there's really nothing. I mean, it's already India, and I'm already going there, and all kinds of places like that where there's real poverty and people have to find the ingenuity. Take a look at a lot of the Olympic athletes from the United States, for example, because that's the stories I hear mostly. Most of them overcame things out of sheer desire, right? That is their ingenuity. Their weather didn't affect them. They kept going. They might have had a cheerleader, like a parent or something, but they kept going. And, I come from a family that has some inventions, and people who have inventions are looking for something new to add to the world, right? That will make it a better place. Or even when you're looking at people in poverty in nations that have few resources, or like a lot of them hoard it for many more years than our country's ever been alive. A lot of them hoard it, right? And then everyone else is oppressed and in poverty. But you find the largest ingenuity in places like that. They have a limit to how far they can go, some of them, but most of them. But you see things made out of materials you would never consider, simply because they didn't have them. They didn't have what we have. So I think in this moment, it's a really good time to look at our privilege and how much has that created so much complaining and resistance and whatever it is that you find in yourself. Forget larger issues of life, even just your everyday life. That thing that allows you to find the privilege to spend all that time doing that, right? Maybe we need to spend a little bit of time going, oh, you know, am I that privileged that I have so much ability to just think, you know, what I'm lacking rather than what I can create, right? What's not right in my world rather than just stepping over or moving with the flow. Sometimes people are just not moving with the flow. They're just got to resist everything because they have so much choice. I thought was really interesting here in Maine, and people have been talking about it, and I don't know where you are. There aren't that Walmart took out a lot of stores. So Walmart is a place where people go get a lot of things, but guess what? The shelves are bare. So many of the shelves are bare. I just thought of like growing up, when the Soviet Union was the Soviet Union, right? And and knowing people who lived on the other side, describing on the other side of the wall, describing what it's like to have like no toothbrushes. So their family members who were on the other side would like sneak through, get to visit them once a year or whatever, and would bring them toothbrushes. Because can you imagine not being able to brush your teeth? If you take brushing your teeth is like a God-given right because you just go to the store and get a toothbrush. So that was really interesting to me that Walmart here, they said we can't get this stuff and we can't keep it on the shelves. It's just gone. And I found that in a number of places. So interesting, you know. Times are changing. Anyway, that was a little off topic. I hope this helped you. I am going to look at, the weather. Well, the sun is peeking out right now, but the weather really hasn't bothered me that much. And I keep sending love to my daughter about, like it's just weather. What can you do with it? Okay, have a nice day.